You don't own a yacht. You've never been on a private jet. Your watch costs $400. Your apartment, a 2-bedroom in Eau Vive, Geneva, costs less than a 1-bedroom in Manhattan. Your suits are Suit Supply, Navy, all 7 of them. You are not what the internet thinks the 1% looks like. You are what the 1% actually looks like. Level 1, the door with no sign. You are 22, top of your class. Economics and political science. Double major. Honors thesis on sovereign debt restructuring and post-crisis economies. 3 languages. You turned down Goldman. You turned down McKinsey. You accepted an offer from a firm your parents have never heard of. The office is in Geneva. 2 floors of a limestone building on a street you won't find marked on most maps. There is no logo on the door. The lobby is marble, cream, and silent. The receptionist knows your name before you say it. The firm has 340 people worldwide, 11 partners. Revenue per employee is 4 times McKinsey's. You looked for the firm on Glassdoor. There are no reviews. You looked for it on LinkedIn. 23 employees listed. The other 317 are not. Your starting salary is $95,000 plus a $15,000 signing bonus. In Geneva, this is modest. Your studio apartment costs $2,800 a month. You eat lunch at the same cafe every day, 22 francs for the plat du jour. You are, by every visible measure, an ordinary young professional in an ordinary European city. On your first day, your manager, a 29-year-old woman from Sao Paulo who speaks 4 languages and has restructured the tax code of 3 countries, hands you a document stamped confidential, client eyes only. You open it. The client is not a company. The client is a country. Level 2, the first country. You are 24. Compensation, $135,000. You are on a flight to a capital city in Southeast Asia. You cannot say which one. You are carrying a laptop containing a 180-page fiscal analysis your team spent 4 months building. It models the economic impact of restructuring the country's indirect tax system. The government wants to implement a broad-based consumption tax. The finance minister supports it. Parliament does not. The public does not. The minister cannot propose this himself. If he does, his coalition fractures. Unions shut down the capital. His career ends. So he calls your firm. Your firm sends you, not to make the decision, to provide the analysis that makes the decision look inevitable. Your 180-page report includes 14 country case studies, a proprietary methodology peer-reviewed by 2 former IMF economists, and 3 implementation scenarios: moderate, accelerated, and phased. You already know which scenario the minister will choose. You designed it that way. The moderate option is deliberately impractical. The phased option is deliberately slow. The accelerated option, the one the minister wanted all along, sits in the middle, looking like the only rational path. You did not make the decision. You made the decision look like there was no other choice. This is what the firm does. You are not in the analysis business. You are not in the consulting business. You are in the permission business. The government already knows what it wants to do. It hires your firm to tell it to do the thing it already wanted, wrapped in 180 pages of methodology, so that when the unions march and newspapers scream, the minister holds up your report and says, "This isn't my idea. This is what the independent experts recommended." Decision laundering, not money laundering, something quieter, something legal, something that reshapes the lives of millions of people and leaves no fingerprints. You fly home. You are 24. The tax passes 7 months later. Revenue increases 22%. 11,000 small businesses close in the first year. You read about it in the Financial Times. Somewhere between the market data and the book reviews, you turn the page. If you're starting to see the world differently, subscribe. This channel exists to show you the rooms you're not supposed to see inside of. Level 3, the specialist. You are 27. Compensation, $220,000. You have now worked on sovereign engagements in 9 countries across 4 continents. You've developed a specialty: fiscal restructuring and revenue mobilization. In normal language, you help governments find new ways to take money from their citizens. You are not the only person who does this, but you are becoming one of the best. Your models are clean. Your presentations are flawless. You have a talent, a genuine, almost artistic talent, for making complex economic pain sound like technical necessity. Revenue mobilization is a phrase you use 40 times a week. It means taxes, but taxes is a political word. Revenue mobilization is a technical word. The difference between those 2 words is the difference between a parliamentary crisis and a smooth implementation. You are learning that language is the most powerful tool in this business. Not data, not models, language. Austerity becomes fiscal consolidation. Layoffs become public sector optimization. Cutting pensions becomes entitlement reform. Privatization becomes public-private partnership. Every word you choose is an act of architecture. You are building a corridor of language that leads a minister from what he cannot say to what he can say, from what would destroy his career to what sounds like responsible governance. Your manager from level 1, the woman from Sao Paulo, is now a partner. Over dinner in Singapore, she says something you will never forget. We don't sell answers. We sell the right to act. A minister sitting on our report can survive a vote of no confidence. A minister sitting on his own opinion cannot. The methodology is not the product. The cover is the product. Your salary is $220,000 and you live in a studio in Geneva. Nobody on the street would look at you twice. But somewhere in Southeast Asia, a tax code you helped write is being enforced this morning. Street vendors are paying it. Families are absorbing it. An economy is being reshaped by a framework you built on a laptop in a conference room 9,000 kilometers away. They will never know your name. You are the name now. Level 4, the name they request. You are 31. Compensation, $440,000. Something has shifted. You are no longer assigned to engagements. You are requested. A Gulf States finance ministry is restructuring its domestic subsidy system. They have called your firm and asked for you by name, not the partner, you. Because you did their tax work 2 years ago and it worked. Worked meaning government revenue increased 34% in 24 months. It also means 200,000 small businesses closed in the first 18 months of implementation. You know both numbers. You put the first one in the deck you show new clients. You did not put the second one in. You are in Riyadh for 3 weeks, then Doha, then Abu Dhabi. You eat hotel breakfasts alone. You swim laps at 6 a.m. in empty hotel pools that overlook skylines built on the money you helped restructure. You call your girlfriend in London and the calls get shorter. Not because you're fighting, because you're running out of things you're allowed to say. She asks what you did today. You say, meetings. She asks about what? You say, client stuff. She asks when you'll be home. You say, Thursday. It is Monday. She hangs up, not angry, just receding, becoming a voice on a phone that belongs to a life you are slowly exiting without either of you naming it. You are living in a world that you cannot share with the people you love, not only because of the NDAs, though there are those, but because the scale of what you do has become untranslatable. How do you explain over dinner that you spent your Tuesday redesigning the revenue architecture of a sovereign nation? How do you make that a normal conversation? How do you come home and discuss groceries after your morning was spent deciding whether 12 million people pay 5% or 7% on everything they buy? You don't. You just say meetings, and the distance grows. Level 5, the partner. You are 35. Compensation, $800,000. Base, bonus, and carried interest in the firm's advisory fund. You are a partner. This means you no longer do the work, you sell the work. You sit across from finance ministers and central bank governors, and you do not open a laptop. You talk, listen, you nod. You say phrases like, we've seen this before in comparable economies, and our experience suggests 3 viable paths forward. You are the product now. Your reputation is what the firm sells. When a government hires your firm, they are hiring the fact that you will be in the room. Your name on the engagement letter is the deliverable. The 240-page report is what the juniors build afterward. Today you are in the main conference room. Across the mahogany sit 4 officials from a European central bank. Their sovereign debt rating is under review. If the rating drops 1 notch, borrowing costs increase by 40 basis points. If borrowing costs rise, they can't fund public pensions. If they can't fund pensions, there will be elections. If there are elections, they lose. They are not asking you to fix their economy. They are asking you to fix their narrative. They need a restructuring plan credible enough for Moody's to hold the rating for 18 more months. The plan doesn't need to work. It needs to look like it will work, long enough to get past the next rating review. After that, different minister, different coalition, different engagement. You have done this before. You open your laptop, you begin. You got married 2 years ago. She is the girlfriend from London. You have a daughter now. She is 3. You have been physically present in the same city as your daughter for approximately 40% of her life. You know this because you're the kind of person who measures things. Your wife used to ask when you'd be home. Now she asks if you'll be home. There is a difference, and you both know exactly what it means. Drop a comment. One word. Would you take this trade? The money, the access, the rooms. For the cost, I want to know. Level 6, the architect. You are 40. Compensation, $1.6 million. You are no longer restructuring systems. You are designing them. A sub-Saharan nation wants to build a digital tax infrastructure from scratch. They've seen what Estonia built. They've seen what Rwanda did. They want their version. They call you. And sitting on the plane, reading their briefing document, you realize something that reframes your entire career. The nations are copying each other. The Gulf state wanted Vision 2030 because it saw Singapore's playbook. The Southeast Asian country wanted a consumption tax because it saw what Chile did in the 1990s. The African nation wants digital infrastructure because it saw Estonia's model presented at a World Bank conference, a conference where your firm gave the keynote. And who carried the playbook from one country to the next? You did. You are the vector. Not of disease, of desire. René Girard wrote that people don't want things because they want them. They want things because other people want them. You have spent 18 years making nations behave the same way. Every deck you present contains international benchmarks, case studies of other countries that implemented what you're recommending. The minister sees what Singapore did. He wants it. Not because it's right for his country, because it's what successful countries do. You are the mechanism by which nations imitate each other, and none of them, not the ministers, not the World Bank, not the IMF, sees the full pattern. You have worked with 23 countries. Each one thinks its engagement is unique. Each one thinks its reform is tailored. They don't know that the frameworks are modular, that you run the same methodology, adjusted for local variables, across continents, that the bespoke solution is a template, that the independent recommendation was recommended to 6 other countries last year. The world is not designed, it is templated. At lunch, you eat alone at Café du Son, perch from the lake. A glass of fondant, 38 francs. You sit by the window and watch tourists photographing the jet d'eau. They have come from 9 time zones to see the famous fountain. They do not know that 3 blocks from where they're standing, the pension system of their home country was just redesigned by someone they will never hear of, never elect, and cannot vote out. That evening, your daughter FaceTimes you. She is 7 now. She holds up a drawing, a house, green grass, a sun in the corner, 4 figures. That's Mummy, that's me, that's the cat, and that's you. You are the smallest figure. You are standing outside the house. You tell her it's beautiful. You end the call. You pour a glass of Macallan 18, 92 francs a bottle, in your Geneva apartment that still has no photographs on the walls because you moved in 9 months ago and will probably move again in 6. You open the Nairobi deck. You keep working. Level 7, the ghost. You are 47. Compensation, $2.8 million. Net worth, conservatively, north of $15 million. Nobody knows your name. You have reshaped the fiscal architecture of 27 countries. You have been personally requested by 11 finance ministers, 4 central bank governors, and 2 heads of state. You have sat in rooms where the economic future of nations was decided between 2 p.m. and 4:30 because the minister had a parliamentary session at 5. Not the rooms the conspiracy theorists imagine. Oak-paneled, cigar-smoked, a globe in the corner, and a portrait of someone powerful on the wall. Real rooms, ugly rooms, rooms with plastic chairs and broken air conditioning, and a tray of stale biscuits that nobody eats. Rooms where the most consequential decisions in the lives of hundreds of millions of people are made on a Wednesday afternoon while someone's phone keeps buzzing on the table. You used to read conspiracy theories in college. Illuminati, Bilderberg, Davos, shadow governments pulling strings behind every election, every crisis, every war. You found them thrilling. The idea that someone, somewhere, was in control, that the chaos was curated, that there was a design. Now you have been in every room that matters, And the truth is more disturbing than any conspiracy you ever read at 2 a.m. in your dorm. There is no shadow government. There is no grand design. There is no they. There are just people like you, in navy suits, in quiet offices, in Geneva and London and Singapore and Washington, making recommendations, writing memos, building models, each solving their small piece of a puzzle that none of you can see the whole of. No one is in charge. The world is not controlled. The world is not governed. The world is consulted into existence, one recommendation at a time, one engagement at a time, one slide deck at a time. And when it goes wrong, when the shops close, when the pensions collapse, when the effigies burn in the Capitol, there is no one to blame, because no one decided. Everyone just advised. The minister took the advice, but the advice was designed to be taken, and the minister who took it was replaced by a new minister who needed new advice. And the new minister called your firm, and your firm called you, and you answered. You always answer. You sit in your apartment at 11:14 p.m. You are reading about protests in a country you restructured 3 years ago. Protesters are burning effigies of their finance minister. The one who sat across from you, nodded at your slide deck, said, "Implement it." He implemented it. He's on the front page of every newspaper in his country. You are in your kitchen, in the dark, drinking scotch. Nobody will ever burn an effigy of you. Nobody knows you exist. A new analyst started at the firm last Monday. She is 22, top of her class, 3 languages. She turned down Goldman. She turned down McKinsey. On her first day, she looked around the marble lobby with the same expression you had 25 years ago. Awe and confusion in equal measure. She doesn't understand what the firm does yet. She will. She reminds you of yourself. That should comfort you. It doesn't. It is Tuesday, 6:15 a.m. You are standing in your kitchen in Geneva. The Financial Times, the Neue Zürcher Zeitung, a new briefing document, a new country,